Hey there, health writers. It feels like it has been quite a while since I last got on this channel to give you some real time information and updates about the state of medical writing and health content writing specifically. But in the new year, I am committed to making sure to still show up here so that you all who are actual and current medical and health content writers and those of you who are aspiring medical and health content writers have some realistic guidance because there's a lot of chatter going on out here, and it can be difficult to find the information you need, trust that it's reliable information, and really accomplish your goals. So if you are not familiar with me, my name is Megan. I am a health content strategist and a communications expert. I talk about my background in every other video on this channel, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it now. What I'm really here to talk about is the state of the health content writing space in 2025 and what the important aspects of that current status are that you need to know in order to make progress in your own freelancing journey or whatever your medical writing journey looks like. Perhaps it's a full-time career journey for you or a part-time career journey, a volunteer career journey, however you're thinking about it. I really want to break down what the current status, what the current landscape looks like, what's different about the landscape right now in 2025 and 2024 as well in comparison to previous years, and what that really means for you and your health content writing journey. So we will get straight into it. First, let's talk through three top of mind issues or events that you probably are already aware of. But I'm going to help add some context to those topics so that you really understand how it's influencing the medical writing space. So what's different? Number one, most people are feeling this. If you live in the United States, you are absolutely feeling it. I think globally, there are some trends that might be similar as well. But really, the macro economy is kind of all over the place right now. Industries, I will say, industries are really shifting, and those shifts in industries on a macro level are creating struggles on a micro level. And those struggles often impact individuals and people, right? But those struggles also impact corporations. And so in a lot of cases right now, there are mass industry-wide layoffs. There are very prominent corporations that are letting go of a lot of their creative teams, and those teams tend to include marketing staff, communication staff, people who do content writing full time for those corporations. As people are getting laid off and they're losing their full-time roles, they're kind of out here in this larger space where they need to fend for themselves because the demand for those roles is not as high right now. So what's happening is that there is more competition, right? Because there are more people trying to take advantage of the gig economy, for better or for worse, right? Not because they necessarily want to be doing that, but because for many of them, they have been laid off and they're in a position where they have to do that. What that means for you as a freelancer or as an aspiring freelancer is that you are competing against more people who are also looking to exchange their services for money. And that can be a challenging space to be in, especially when a lot of those folks who you might be competing against have a level of experience in the space that you don't necessarily have. There's higher interest, there's higher supply, there's more competition, and that is being fueled by a very difficult macro economy. The other difference that we are seeing now and in recent years is, of course, AI. And this is really influencing the health content writing space in two ways. So one is from a personnel perspective. People who might not have had the qualifications that you have as a healthcare professional or healthcare provider or a student training to be a healthcare provider, they now have access to a level of writing skill that they might not have had before, and a level of information, um, a level of researching ability that they might not have had before. And so people are getting more resourceful using tools like Perplexity and ChatGPT and other generative AI tools. And they are leveraging those to augment or improve the services that they are able to offer as health content writers. They're using that to supplement what might have been gaps for them previously, and they're overcoming those gaps to a certain extent, leveraging new technologies. That's going to increase competition because now you, as a healthcare provider who's aspiring to be a health content writer, you really have to be leaning into that expertise to set yourself apart even more, because that natural distinction isn't necessarily as wide as it used to be. That's the first way that AI is influencing the health content writing landscape. Another way, though, that is influencing the landscape is because people like you and me, but more importantly, our family members, our friends, the patients that we serve, they are able to access information in different ways. So whereas most people were able to access health content by going to Google and using the search bar to type in a question or an issue that they might have had, people are still doing that to some extent, but they're also going to, again, those generative AI platforms like your Chat GPTs, your Perplexities, and they are typing their questions there to get information directly from the generative AI platforms. So the way that people are searching for information is changing, and the way that they're being provided with information is changing, which changes the landscape of health content writing, because now companies are forced to ask themselves, since people are no longer searching in the way that we are used to them searching, and since that trend is only going to continue, how do we ensure that our brand is still top of mind, and that our brand is still showing up as a source of expertise in this particular space? Because remember, while we as healthcare professionals oftentimes engage in health content writing because we want to educate patients, that is not necessarily the primary reason why corporations are engaging in health content writing or investing in health content writing. Health content writing is a part of health content marketing, which is a broader marketing strategy. So those corporations really care about, how is this impacting our business objectives? How is it impacting our bottom line? How is it impacting our top line, or the way that leads or that revenue is coming into our organization? How is this change in search influencing that change? And what do we need to do to fix that? So that's creating it's creating an opportunity for improvement, but the jury is still out on how that is actually going to impact the development of health content itself, because we are all figuring this out in real time. They do not yet have the answers, which means we don't yet have the answers, but it's something to be aware of because it is definitely influencing the space. And the last difference is one that is really not brand new to 2025, but is only going to continue increasing from here. It's rising distrust in systems, for example, the healthcare system, and it's more reliance from people on non-traditional sources of information. People are increasingly wanting to find information for themselves or hear it from a peer. There's research that shows that people tend to trust and act on information that they hear from their family and friends before they trust and act on information that they might get from their doctor or their nurse. We could talk for days about why that is. I talk often about some of the factors that influence those trends, but the reality is, it's the reality. And so we have to be aware of that as health content writers or aspiring health content writers, because those are the types of challenges that we have to overcome in the materials that we create. We have to try to overcome those barriers in the content that we're writing. Otherwise, it falls flat. It doesn't accomplish its goal. So Those are just three. I'm sure there are more, but those are three of the main factors that are influencing the current state of health content writing right now in 2025. Now, what this means for your individual health content writing journey, is that all of the things that I've talked about in previous videos here, on my LinkedIn account, wherever you've seen me talking about health content writing, all of those things that were already important are now essential, are now non-negotiable. Networking and building relationships with people, more important now than ever. Because again, if you think about this pool of people who are out here excited to or desperate to or simply willing to offer their expertise and their writing services in exchange for money, that pool of people has increased. And so if you don't have personal professional relationships with people who are seeking writers and seeking communicators, it's going to be even more difficult for you to break through that pool of people just off of your own merit, simply because of the sheer quantity of people with expertise that are out there. So it is beyond essential for you to ensure that you are building relationships with people who work at the companies that you want to write for, people in your own network who might already have those relationships, peers who are already medical writers or have just started to break into the industry. Building those relationships is going to be key. Understanding how content marketing fits into a company's broader marketing objectives and being able to speak to the value of content marketing on a business level, essential. I alluded to this when I talked about some of the differences that we're seeing right now. Content marketing is not just a cute blog from the goodness of a business's heart. It's genuinely not. It is not just something a business does because they want to put out good information. It is simply not. It is a strategic marketing objective, and it's important to understand how content marketing helps them achieve those marketing objectives, because you have to be able to speak to that. Companies are going to want to work with communicators or freelancers or agencies or whomever who are able to communicate the value of their services on a business level. So that is essential. Samples are going to be really important. Your samples should not sound like something that ChatGPT came up with, because literally anyone can create that type of sample. The purpose of your samples or your portfolio is to give a business an example of what you can produce and the value that you can offer through your skill set. What's happened now is the floor has changed, right? Because the floor used to be, okay, what is the natural human floor? What is the natural minimum product that a person can come up with? Like, a person who might not be that great of a writer, what's the floor? Now that's not the floor anymore. The floor is, what can a person put into ChatGPT and get out and use as their sample? That's the floor. So your samples need to be above and beyond. They need to incorporate and demonstrate your expertise as a healthcare provider, so that when you show those samples to a company, they understand why your services would be more valuable than someone else's. And to that same point, standing out is going to be more challenging for all of the reasons that I've previously mentioned, but it's going to be even more important because you're simply dealing with a much more crowded space, in a much more crowded space of people who can at least produce a bare minimum product that is not embarrassing. So that's kind of like a brief snapshot of where we are right now in the health content writing landscape in 2025. I know so many of you have expressed to me that you're interested in learning more from me over the past several years. So I have a special invitation for you. Late last year, I started to send out what I'm calling the Future Medical Writer newsletter, which is designed for healthcare professionals and students across the entire spectrum of medical writing to get news and updates on what is going on in the industry. What are the current trends that you need to know about? What are the things on the horizon that you need to be aware of so that you can stay prepared and so that you can make your plans for your own individual journey accordingly? And then it also offers insights from me and what I've experienced as a freelancer over the past 7 to 8 years now at this point, but also what I've taught people that I've mentored in the past and best practices that I've shared along the way, opportunities for you to find support in your medical and health writing journey. So I would love to welcome you all into the newsletter family. You can go to Megan Nicole, MEGANNICOLE.com/newsletter. Feel free to share that link with a friend who might be interested in medical and health writing. And let me know what types of questions you have about health content writing, about medical writing. I'm definitely going to continue sharing my perspectives on those and helping you all as much as I can in this current landscape. So it's really nice to speak with you all again, and I'll be seeing y'all on the newsletter. I send it out monthly, so try to get in before next month so that you can catch the February issue. If you get in within the next week or so, I'll kind of backtrack and send you the January issue as well. But